So what I should have done in hindsight is I could have made, if I had a coffee conversation with somebody, if someone asked me, hey, can we sit down for like an hour and talk about like the essential things I need to know about YouTube? That is the perfect thing to package into a lower ticket offer.
Welcome to High-End Client Acquisition Podcast. My name is Marian. I'm your host, and this show is here to teach you how to attract your dream clients on autopilot in 30 days or less. Each week, I bring you a guest or a strategy that can help you take your business to the next level. Don't forget, you can always get the episodes in your inbox or messenger at clientacquisitionpodcast.com. What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. Today we have a special guest, and to be honest, Sean is actually the first one as a follow-up guest on, and the first person that we bring it back on the show. First of all, thank you so much, man, for taking the time to show up today. So, for people that may have not heard the first episode, or they're not familiar with your brand, let us know in like maybe 1 minute what you do exactly and how did you get started into the whole YouTube game and building your brand online.
Yeah, totally. So now what I do today is I help people build their influence with online video and specifically YouTube, specifically usually leaders and entrepreneurs, and got started back in 2003 doing video production at my local church. And so self-taught, did it for years, but eventually got into marketing situations. I was a director of communication for a church, so I started doing email marketing and then some Facebook ads, and then I got into marketing. So I've really began, in the last 15 years, understanding the big picture, and we've built a 7-figure business now, and just passionate about helping other people, not just master video, but really master their message, and because that's sometimes the thing they're struggling with the most, is that kind of business model that you build around your online social media video presence.
That's legit, man. And for those of you guys that have not heard or watched the last episode, I'll put it in the description below. But we talked how can actually people start their brands on YouTube specifically, but then of course take it off. So now what we want to follow up, because you just mentioned something powerful. You guys built a multi-7-figure business mostly from, or starting from your YouTube channel.
Straight up.
So let's say we are past the stage of somebody starting their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
How can they focus on moving forward, keeping their content around their business model? So it's not just, I need to get to 10,000 subscribers so I can start monetizing with AdSense like a little bit of money, or like how can people focus on, this is the business model, now let's kind of put some gas on the fire from YouTube instead of the other way around?
Well, I know we started in the last video talking about some of the basics, but even for some of the advanced people watching, you really want to be clear on who and what. Who is your target audience, and then what is the problem that you solve for them? What's your value proposition? And as we talk about evolving too, it's almost like you want to have clarity before you get, imagine if you got 1 million YouTube subscribers, but you don't really have anywhere to send them. I'm sure you could build it later, but what's nice is you want to get those pieces in place first. And basically, it's classic 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Chapter 2 is begin with the end in mind. And so thinking at the end, like, what would your perfect customer look like? Or what would your perfect business look like? What are some of your revenue targets? And what even are you selling? Are you selling a digital course? Are you selling coaching? Or you have some kind of physical product? But you need to lay a solid foundation first. And that's also begins to then shape your content, because then everything should basically begin to work backwards, where you're like, if they're gonna end up here, then what could I put kind of on the front end content-wise? And then once you have what you talk about, this kind of stuff, and building a sales process or building a sales funnel, if you got that dialed in and you know it works, then it's just a traffic thing. And so then we can talk about strategies of how do you really scale traffic if you've already got some momentum on YouTube.
No, I love it, man. And even from your content, I love the way that you kind of lay out like a plan for people. Like, all right, these are like the problem solving. And for those of you guys that you don't know, I'm in Sham's inner circle.
Yeah.
So a lot of the lessons in there are making sure that you focus on who do you serve. And that's, I love the fact that you mentioned that, like, make sure you focus on them first. So let's assume from a product suit type of, because we were at this event.
Yeah.
They were just talking about this, like what is the product that's missing from your business right now.
Yeah.
What do you think is the best for people to start with? Because a lot of people want to, for example, they may model you. They want to model your like membership site type of business model. But you know, for somebody that's just starting out and they don't have an email list, that may be tough to pull off, right? What would you think is smart for people to start with for the first time?
Well, one of my business mentors, Shalene Johnson, really taught me the concept of a baby offer. And I think that actually one of the best things to start with is someone might watch somebody that's like in the ClickFunnels community or whatever, and they see people with like big online courses, or they see people with big masterminds, or they see people with big events, and they just see people with big stuff. And it can be overwhelming to think I need to create that. So having a baby offer, this is less even about profitability, and it's more about generating leads. It's more about generating paying customers. And another term for it in our industry is kind of like a tripwire, but it's different. And so here's a way to think about it. Like maybe people watching are thinking, maybe I build an online course. I think that's a good idea, but even that's pretty daunting if you're still trying to figure out your world. But if you know who your who and what is, here's the question. An online course that is maybe, let's say $2,000, is maybe like a 2-month course. It's like a lot of content. Now sometimes I don't even want a lot of content. I want like just the right answer, so length isn't necessarily like what, but nevertheless, you think of like a big academy. Then you could think about though, and maybe that's $2,000. And you could think about, all right, well what about maybe then something that I could take in a week, not a month, but just a week's worth of content. What would you teach somebody? And maybe that's like $1,000 or $500. And then you say, what would I teach somebody in a day? That could be a course that's maybe $197. So then you say, what would I teach somebody in 1 hour? That's maybe $7 or $27. Now here's where this is powerful. If you're in real estate, for example, and even if you don't feel like you're an expert, that holds a lot of people back in our community. If you've been doing real estate for 1.5 years, you can revolutionize someone who's just getting into it. Mainly, maybe not because you've had massive results, but you've made a bunch of mistakes. And you're like, here's 7 things I wish I did differently in the first year of real estate. Now, maybe that is your tripwire, like just or not your tripwire, like a lead magnet, like a free download or a free video. And maybe it's only a couple things, like the 3 biggest mistakes I made in my first year of real estate. Then they're able to consume something very short. They get that win. They kind of get to know you, and you say, and I actually did like an hour-long course with all 10 things. I just showed the first 3. If you actually are interested, and you know, it took me a whole year to learn this, and it's like a $100 course, but I'll hook you up. You know, like you have it for like $7 or something. So it's a no-brainer. And now think about this. Now you have YouTube free content. People are getting to know you. On there you say, hey, if you want my jump start in real estate, go download it, capture the lead. And then also, again, if you think about speed of this, now there's always ways to accelerate past and maybe do higher ticket offers, of course, but I think this is one of the coolest things to do because you could create it quick. And then I think everybody watching could think, so whatever it is you do, whatever it is your niche, when you start thinking about creating something, you're probably thinking too complex. You want to go way back, I think, to that person who's at the beginning of the journey, because the person you're going to help, you're like here on the mountain, they're here. And you need to really get into the psychology of meeting them here and moving them just a little bit forward. And the idea too with what do you charge for free content versus paid content is that really your whole journey should be helping someone get from A to Z. But maybe your free content, that first download, and even like a low ticket offer or a mini course or something is going to get people from A, B, C, D, E. It could get crazy results. But the reality is there's a bigger journey to go. There's always another level. And that's what's cool about also starting there. In fact, it comes out of a mistake. The first digital course I made was Video Ranking Academy. Yeah. I'm glad I did. It's not a huge mistake, but boy, it stressed me out because it was my first foray into it. It's an academy. It was, it's really in depth. It took me like, a 12-hour day to record it, and then I added more content later, and we're adding bonuses and all this other stuff. That's really intimidating if that's like the first thing you create. So what I should have done in hindsight is I could have made, if I had a coffee conversation with somebody, if someone asked me, hey, can we sit down for like an hour and talk about like the essential things I need to know about YouTube? That is the perfect thing to package into a lower ticket offer. Now you think about this, now someone is also getting to know, like, and trust you at a very low risk level. And now they're already a paying customer with that thing. And then you maybe haven't even built the next thing yet, but after they finish that, they're like, dude, okay, well, what's next? Like, how can I go to that next level with you? And again, using the real estate example, you're just like at a year and a half. So what are you doing right now? Well, you're still studying, you're learning, you're getting mentored, you're doing deals, you're building your things. So you're like, all right, let me build the next thing, which is maybe still only like 201, and you're not going to do it till later. So you actually can build in a linear process. And this is actually coming out of pain of not really understanding a customer journey and thinking about people's process. A lot of things like the curse of knowledge, where I thought that the beginners and the basics was just too basic, and that wasn't, but that was me in the wrong mindset. I was in the wrong headspace, because I was like, well, I'm sure that everybody in my audience has read all the books I've read, taken the courses I've taken, invested the time, and that was just a block. It's not true. So it's so great to go back and meet basically yourself kind of at the beginning of your journey. That's who you're going to be able to serve the most. And the cool thing is you only need to be like a year ahead, maybe not even that. Like, you just need to be a few. If you also too, like, if you're going to help them go from A, B, C, D, that's all you will have to have done. You might only be on F, and then you're still progressing, and you're just bringing people along with you. And I think that's kind of the journey you want to create on social media that then leads into your business.
I love it, man. And the fact, one thing that at least me, when you said, all right, what if I would have a coffee with somebody for 1 hour and just talk about that can become a product on its own. So I'm pretty sure everybody that's watching or listening to this episode, you can relate to that. Like, what's the thing in your business that you can sit down with somebody at a coffee and just talk and explain? Like, I love that. So that gets me to the next question is, I love the way that you launched Video Ranking Academy by doing it for so long. And then, of course, you were at the super expert level when you launched it. What would you say stopped you from creating it a couple of years ago?
Like earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was, there's a good and a bad side. The good side was I really wanted to have deep expertise. So I do think there's something to not faking it till you make it. There's something to actually having, and really all it was a problem you solve. It was that problem you solve. And now I had studied ranking so much, and so my question was, can I do it not just once or a few lucky times, but can I do it repeatedly? And then it was, can I help a few other people do it? So I just really wanted at least a level of mastery in ranking. But here's the blocker, it's going back to this idea that, and that's an advanced course. It's like a 401 concept, and it's something I really pioneered. The blocker to me was, again, not understanding though, because here's what's also happened. Different people come into our academy. Everybody loves Video Ranking Academy, but some people, you're much further along. You're advanced. And we realized people were coming in because they did want what it would teach, but they were actually way earlier. Like, they didn't have like their avatar done or their cover image done. They still wanted confidence to get on camera. They wanted just the basics of how YouTube worked. And my mental block was like, well, that's not, like, you could just Google that. It's just free information on the internet, which is true. But what people are actually looking for, of course there's free information. There's tons of books to buy, but they're actually, usually they're searching on the internet or they're on social media. When they find you, they're looking for a proven mentor or expert or friend to hold their hand. They're looking for your vibe attracts your tribe. And so when someone even says, like, well, why would people buy courses when information's free? Well, can you trust the information? It's hard to find. It's not in the right steps. So when they just meet someone that they can connect with. So all that to say, what I just was under this pressure to create this fancy course. I felt like I was trying to impress my peers, which is a horrible mistake. You're worried about what other people in the industry are thinking that would never buy your course. They don't even know what you're doing, and they probably don't care. And you're thinking about them. You need to be thinking about the customer and the potential customer and where they are. Whereas years earlier, I could have created a course, how to set up your YouTube channel for success. We're gonna get your avatar done. Let's pick a name. Let's do your channel. But my mental, and so I want to serve people watching that, like, think about where you were when you started. You've got the curse of knowledge now, and you assume that everyone's like you, that they're gonna read 4 books on it, and they're gonna listen to all these podcasts, and they've been going to events. But there's people all around the world who are not doing that, and they are actually looking for someone to give them just a step-by-step process and someone they can connect with. I think there's just so much opportunity, and where I see a lot of people getting stuck is either trying to solve problems no one's even asking about, or trying to get so fancy, and it also is a disconnect because it's hard to market an advanced problem when really the problem the person knowingly has is right here. So dialing that all in is not necessarily easy. It's simple as we talk about it, but it's a process of figuring that out. And the last thing probably to say, here's just an actionable tip: talk to real people.
No, that's legit, man. I love the way that you simplify things. Another thing that I just it's keep like coming back to my mind. You said we're always wondering about what the people in our industry would say, but they're not the customers at all. Like,
that's right.
I think I'm probably gonna quote you on that one. Is that's just legit fire right there. And I hope people can understand that, because what you said, I was mastering paid traffic. I had no idea what organic, and I didn't even know that that's possible anymore. Like, I was always in my mind of like, right, I'm just gonna do a video, I'm just gonna pay on YouTube to get it done, and then that's it, whatever. But now when I see the power when you can combine these two,
when you combine them,
boom, it's blowing my mind. So that's super deep and super powerful for people, and I hope everybody's taking notes. So if we would put down, let's say, like a process, because I always like to get a little tactical, because I just realized that people love that. If we would tell people that's listening or watching this, all right, let's say you've been in the business for whatever, like you said, you've probably been doing something for 1 year, real estate, service-based business, coaching, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What would you say is like a 1, 2, 3 type of thing to at least get your product off the ground and get a little bit of momentum, regardless if it's paid or organic?
Yeah. So I mean, to get momentum. So, and think of this idea: you're in service-based business, and you've been in it a year, and you want to start helping people. The cool thing about not having to fake it till you make it is you don't have to pretend like you're the full dog. You actually are like the friend that's a few steps ahead. That's like, hey, I'm just going to help you avoid the pitfalls and the challenges. But I would say again, get really clear on your who or what. Like, who is it you're trying to reach? What is the problem you're trying to solve? And then I would say you want to plan on paper. One of the biggest mistakes people make on YouTube is they don't research before they record. And that research could include, of course, keyword research. We talked about that in Video Ranking Academy, but research, I mentioned, maybe calling somebody, like actually getting in touch with your target who. That's why you need to define that first. So, and let's be clear. So now you're maybe thinking, you are leaving the service-based business and becoming an entrepreneur, leaving corporate life and building a life on your own terms. Maybe you already have, you're down the road on that. So now you know that what you're gonna do is you're gonna help like corporate executives or leaders or employees escape the 9-to-5 and build a life on their own terms. So you know, and then maybe even more than that, you were in like you were in consulting at Accenture. So now you're like, I help consultants or whatever that work for someone else become a consultant on this. So now you're getting really clear on your who, and then what do you help them do? Escape their 9-to-5 and build. Okay, so then you think, okay, let me actually talk to a few or research, and research can include the blogs. Research could include maybe there's trending ideas around, like, I mean, in that case, maybe Harvard Business Review just talked on grit, and you're like, well, I don't even think it's real. I mean, sure they do, but, and whatever. So you want to jump on trends. What are the hot topics in your industry? Definitely doing keyword research, and what are maybe those individuals searching? And I know we're talking about YouTube, but I mean, I'm not only about YouTube. LinkedIn video right now is powerful, IGTV. Where is your who? Of course they're on YouTube, but maybe there's other places. So then you want to map what is the content that would matter to them. And then some of that's going to be experimenting. I mean, we're not going to get this right off. You need to be willing to just take massive and perfect action. But I think one thing to absolutely do, even if you haven't launched a YouTube channel, is you want to be able to brainstorm. Like, even before you start, you should probably brainstorm 30 to 100 video ideas. Now, you might not make them all, but like from keyword research, 5 mistakes I made when becoming an independent consultant, the biggest myth about being whatever, and really brainstorm, because then what you're also doing is you're going to fill your pipeline so that you're not going week to week, like what do I talk about now? So I think doing research for YouTube specifically, I mean, I know you're a member of Video Ranking Academy, mastering the fact of realizing YouTube's a search engine and wanting to be the dominant force in front of your relevant keywords. And that's what I do next. And then it's just taking action and pumping out the content. And I'm a big fan of batch production, batch producing videos, because people watching, we're busy, we got a lot of other stuff. And as an entrepreneur, that's one thing people, unless you're gonna be a YouTube celebrity, which is kind of a unicorn thing, like that's not something, you know what I mean? Then you need to build a business, so it's gonna be a process, it's gonna take time, and so then but you also need to build a business. You're not gonna make money off YouTube ads or just affiliate marketing. You might need product creation, maybe you're doing client work or done for you services. So saying that, you need to be able to get YouTube into a systematized aspect. You can't do it 40 hours a week because you got all this other stuff that you maybe need to call clients and other things to build. And so batch producing is then maybe taking that list of video ideas, systematizing it where you could shoot 4 videos on a Saturday where you hit those first couple topics, and then release 1 a week, and you have a weekly show now that is helping corporate consultants build their private consultancy with in 100 days or less or whatever. Like, you start thinking through some of those things, and then you take them through that process. And then the final piece is the last C of the 7 C's of YouTube success is consistency. But I think then just really committing to the process and realizing that great things take time. Don't despise small beginnings. And as Bill Gates says, most people overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year, but underestimate what they can accomplish in 5 to 10. I think that the real secret of YouTube, which of course there's all kinds of tactics and things, but the real secret is thinking of starting a signature show. We're just thinking of just consistent content and then sticking with it for years. And that's what builds momentum. And eventually, a good example of this is Marie Forleo. So she's a pretty popular female entrepreneur. So she now has what's called Marie TV. It's her weekly show, and she's helping all kinds of entrepreneurs, but probably mainly female entrepreneurs, really resonate with her. And she started this thing like 7 years ago. Sat on her couch. It's all fancy today with all this fancy lighting stuff. Sat on her couch with a laptop and did Q&A, but she didn't stop. And at that time, she kind of had foresight to think, well, I guess if I had the money and I paid for the time, I could go on CNN or NBC or ABC, but YouTube is actually it's the TV, and I can be there for free. So I really think about this idea of starting a signature show that you stick with for years to come. Because what happens is, again, if we're launching this consultant business, you quit your job and you're getting people out, then again, in 1 year, you think about like a small business, they say most small businesses won't even be profitable for 24 to 36 months. That's up to 3 years. So you need to be willing to really put in the hustle and the grind. I mean, straight up, right? You get a guy like Gary Vee who says, work smarter and not harder is kind of BS, man. I mean, the entrepreneurs that are really killing it are working harder. And so putting in the work, putting out the videos, building out the business, hustling to get that first customer, that second customer. But where the tipping point is continuing to learn, master the process, and then year 2, year 3, year 4, now you got crazy momentum and you got these ranked videos, now courses are selling and you're training and you're mastering, whatever you want to do, it really kicks in. And that's what people miss, especially about YouTube, is it's a long game. YouTube is a marathon and not a sprint. Now, a lot of businesses and a lot of social media is, but some of the other social media gives us a little more viral. You go live on Facebook, you're like, oh cool, there's like 250 people there. And you go live on YouTube and you're like, there's nobody there because you don't have subscribers yet. But that's what's deceiving, because YouTube's a marathon and not a sprint. Some of the other social media is like, oh cool, kind of you get a few likes, you get a few dopamine hits, but YouTube's almost like real estate. When you build ranked videos, you're almost building equity, that these are videos that will pay you for weeks, months, and years to come. And if we've built that sales process, you start putting in that front end content, more and more people will be led into that sales process. Maybe it's eventually that quick guide to help, the 10 things consultants need to know to start their deal. And then it goes into even something that's low ticket, but eventually, especially in that industry, now you have like $10,000 execution workshop or whatever else you're doing to really help people achieve transformation in the journey of your business.
I love it, man. And I guess, you gave so much value just from the last question. And I hope people just understand like everything that you just laid out for them right there. So you said something really important, and that was you do this on Facebook and Instagram, you may get some likes, and then you're like all pumped and stuff, and you're on YouTube and it's nobody. Well, yeah, but then 10 days or a month later, that YouTube videos keep getting views, the rest are just buried in the
That's right.
in the feed, so they just die over there.
Yeah.
Awesome, and I love everything that, like, you just simplify things so easy for people. Like, I love the way that you explain them. So, obviously now people are familiar with what YouTube can do for their brands, where they can go to, one, find a book, and two, maybe watch some of the trainings that I've watched before I got into the actual courses of yours.
Yeah. So the book is on Amazon around the world, all the Amazons. So you could go physical, ebook, or the audiobook, and it should be at all the Amazons. And so you can check that out. And then if we link up a playlist, we maybe put on the YouTube card in the description. I have a series on how to start and grow your YouTube channel. So maybe you're already past starting, but it's like maybe a 6-video series. It's all on YouTube. That's a great way to start. And of course, there's all those nuanced tactics, but probably, especially even being at this event where we're in such a strategic mindset.
Yeah.
Sun Tzu, the famous military general whose trainings were captured in the book The Art of War, said this famous quote, and I might kind of mess it up, but it basically said that like strategy, tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. Everybody wants tactics. How do I get like more views? How do I get more likes? How do I get, what's the secret of tricking the algorithm? And here's the thing though, those tactics without a strategy, kind of what we talked about, the foundation, it's the noise before defeat. Yeah, you got some views, yeah, you got some likes, some subscribers came, but they also left. They're not even engaged anymore because you don't have the foundation of your business. But it also said was that strategy without tactics will never go anywhere because you actually then need to know. And so obviously we couldn't do it all in this video, but that even just the book's a great way. You can get it for $4.99 on ebook, and you're gonna learn both actually. We covered the first half of strategy, but then we go into some specific tactics. But it's funny because, again, I know we were talking about YouTube this whole time, and we didn't even actually talk about a ton of tactics, but that's the biggest gap I'm seeing people. It's like, it's actually lay that strategic foundation and then check out that playlist and some of that other training, so then you can get those tactics on top of it, and that's the 1-2 punch. Because smart strategy with tactics, and those tactics, let me just like maybe drop one right now, and that is the fact that suggested videos is the largest traffic source on YouTube.
Yeah.
So search, which we love in VRA, that's a 1-2 punch too. You actually get more traffic on suggested videos, but it's the best practices off search that'll even position you there. But something that you could do, a tactic, is go to your competitors in your industry, go to their videos page on YouTube, search by most popular, and look at their hottest videos. What that's going to reveal to you is the topics that people on the internet care about. And so there could be a channel all about how to be a better speaker, but they probably have 100 different topics. What are like the top 5? And that gives you an idea of the kind of stuff you could create. Why? One, they've already proven that that's what the internet's interested in. But then two, the way YouTube works is through suggested videos. So as you build your channel authority, you could potentially start showing up by them, even if it's at the tune of like 2 to 5% of their traffic. Because what happens is YouTube associates the two videos. So someone's trying to become a better speaker. There's some big competitor that you're intimidated by, and whatever, and like they're already established. You're like, shoot, well, go give your 2 cents on some of those top topics. And now, especially if it's not even that highly competitive, that person is watching that video, but they really want to go deep on this. So over on that right side or at the end of the video is your good thumbnail, your good title, and then to even take it to an advanced level is then maybe thinking like the polarizing side of it. So let's say you're in fitness and nutrition and you realize that keto's hot right now, then this, you do something that's like why keto will kill you. I mean, people are going to click on it regardless. So, I mean, good or bad, and it could be negative. So you better have some good information to back up that point of view. But does that make sense? So then you go identify those hot topics and then get your video showing up and suggested. And what I've learned is that some of these videos might be getting 1 million views a year on these very popular channels.
Yep.
And you can maybe, as you build channel authority, only expect 5 or 2 or 1% of that traffic. Now, I'm not very good at math, so what's 1% of 1 million? 10,000 views or something?
Yeah,
it'd be like 10,000 views. So that's like crazy though. So then that's just the idea that if you could get your videos showing up in the suggested videos around certain topics, then over a year's time, 10,000 views of traffic can come your way, even though, and that, I think, just to encourage people, I think we have fixed pie thinking, like all the niches are saturated, everything's too crowded now, all the gurus, and it's like, no, the world is so big. To be fair, you might not be like that biggest guru in your industry that's doing 8 figures a year, or maybe you won't do 7, but the reality for people to be doing 6, multiple 6, or even just making like 35K a year, or 75K a year, or 35,000 on just one vertical of like their digital course and their social media thing, and they've got like their whole other business over here where they do done for you, and a lot of that can be automated. The opportunity is massive. Believing in that long tail, that it's not too crowded, be smart, join the conversation, put your videos out there, learn the tactics, but I think that one will really help. Getting those video ideas, and why reinvent the wheel? The internet is spoken by the consumption of the most popular videos in certain niches. You got to join those topics.
No, that's legit. And just the tactic alone, by going and hacking, the way that I like to call it, hack your competitors' channels and just look at the things that are actually proven to work.
Yeah.
And you just model it and give your 2 cents. I think that's just like you drop the mic right there.
Boom.
All right, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. And again, guys, we'll put the link for the book in the description of this video. If we would leave people with the last thing from this interview, what would you say would be?
I would say, don't hesitate. Don't get stuck in your own head. Don't procrastinate. If you've been just like thinking about this for weeks or months or even years and you're not taking action, man, punch fear in the face, punch perfectionism in the face, and press record. You gotta get in the game. And if you've been in the game, I want to encourage you to just go all in, step it up to that another level. I know that at times of seasons when I've been like discouraged or tired, I thought that there wasn't another level, but maybe you just need to take a nap. Tired eyes rarely see a bright future. But when you're in that right place, man, there's always another level. And I think we are going to look back at this time in history, and all of us are going to probably regret that we didn't go more all in as all this stuff was unfolding. All this social media stuff, paid traffic, this stuff is so new, and it's not going to be this good forever. And it might feel competitive right now, but look, it's going to be more competitive in 2 years. It's going to be even more competitive in 6. And so like the window of opportunity right now, don't wait, don't sit on the fence, dive in. If you're in, take it to another level, find out how to scale, and keep following this guy, because this guy knows what he's talking about.
And guys, don't go anywhere. Start binge watching the other interview with Sean. We're gonna link it up right here, and the rest of the YouTube stuff and all the training that's coming up in the next coming videos. Hey podcast listeners, I want you to know that I really appreciate your attention and I don't take it lightly. That's why each month we pick a lucky winner and we give away books, mentorship, software, courses, iPads, and other cool stuff. The way to enter is go to clientacquisitionpodcast.com and sign up. You'll get all the details there. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.